Okay, so density, hopefully you guys remember, is mass over volume. That's really the only equation that you need to know for it. So this is, oops, let's see if I can get this to do what I want it to. Density equals mass over volume. Now you should be able to identify these by their units. So mass is almost always going to be in grams. Volume is almost always going to be in milliliters if it's a liquid, or cubic centimeters if it's a solid. If it's something that's really, really not dense like air, it might be liters or cubic meters. And so density's unit is usually going to be grams per milliliter or grams per cubic centimeter or whatever. So if you identify these units, you should know what that stands for. So if I do this practice problem, a concrete block has dimensions of 12 inches by 12 inches by 4 inches. If the density of concrete is 3 grams per cubic centimeter, then what is the mass of a block? So anytime I do a problem like this, I'm going to pull out the numbers that I get from the problem, right? I'm going to break it down, and then I'm going to figure out how to get from point A to point B, which should be my answer. So I'm going to pull the numbers out first. So I've got this 12 inches by 12 inches by 4 inches. So if those are the dimensions, I know that I can get that as a volume, right? The volume of a block is length times width times height. So I'm just going to multiply those. So I would do 12 times 12 times, 4, sorry, times 4, and that will get you your volume. Now, keep your units, always keep your units. That's what's going to keep you on the right track. These are all in inches. So this is going to give me some number in inches cubed. Okay, so that's my volume. I also have this number here, 3 grams per cubic centimeter. You should identify that as a density, even though it does also say density right here. So density is 3 grams per cubic centimeter. Okay, so I have density and I have volume. Obviously, mass is the only thing that's missing, and that is what the question is asking for. It says, what is the mass? All right, so I'm going to use my equation, density equals mass over volume, and plug things in. Now, at this point, what you should notice is that my volume is in cubic inches, and my density is in cubic centimeters, and those are 2 different units. They do have to match. All right, so I am going to convert my inches into cubic centimeters because I know that conversion off the top of my head. I would give this to you on an equation sheet so you don't have to have it memorized. Okay, so what I would do is over here my inches, I'm going to multiply it by a conversion factor. Okay, I need inches cubed to go away. Well, I know that there's 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters, but 1 cubic inch is cubed 2.54 cubic centimeters. So if you are cubing the unit, you also need to cube the number. Don't forget that step. Okay, so if you know the inches to centimeters conversion, the cubic conversion, you have to cube the numbers also. Okay, so this is going to give me a very large number in cubic centimeters. Okay, now I have density, so I can plug that in. I have my volume in cubic centimeters. I can plug that in, and I can solve for my mass. So I would pause right now and solve this for yourself. Okay, so I put in the numbers here and calculated it out. Notice that I kept a lot of significant figures as I was doing my calculations. I kept the 576 for inches cubed, and then over here for my centimeters cubed, I've got a bunch of significant figures. Don't round until the end. Pull the numbers down in your calculator. Okay, so don't round until the end. So I get to the end, I've got my density equals mass over volume. I solve for my mass, really big number, should be. And what I want you to do then is round to the correct number of significant figures. So if you look at all your numbers from the problem, 4.0 is only 2 significant figures, as is 3.0 is 2 significant figures. So I should have 2 significant figures in my answer. So any of these answers are appropriate. If you are ever having trouble rounding to the correct number of significant figures, I highly recommend putting your answer in scientific notation, because the numbers in front of the times 10 to the are always significant. So if you put it in scientific notation first, it might be easier for you to round correctly.